In a world where danger hides behind silence, and innocence can be lost in the blink of an eye, when man stands between fear and hope, he doesn't wear a cape, he wears courage. He doesn't seek fame, he saves lives. This is the story of a commando, a silent guardian who rides into danger, not for glory, but for humanity. The sun had just started to rise over the city, casting a warm golden hue over the streets and buildings. The morning air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of dew and earth. Among the quiet rhythm of the waking city, a figure emerged from a small, modest home tucked away on a side street. He was a commando, a man of courage, strength, and relentless determination. Dressed in a full tactical uniform, complete with protective gear, a utility belt, and sturdy boots, he looked every bit the part of someone ready to face the unknown. His helmet hung loosely under his arm, and his eyes, sharp and focused, scanned the surroundings as if searching for unseen challenges. Mounting his bike, the commando started down the familiar road, the engine roaring softly beneath him. The road was not heavily traveled, and the streets were mostly empty, save for a few early risers and distant vehicles. Yet, beyond the relative calm, a certain tension lingered in the air, a subtle reminder that not all was peaceful in the outskirts of the city. As he rode further, the scenery began to change. The neat streets and orderly houses gave way to a more rugged landscape. The road twisted through an area that seemed both beautiful and slightly dangerous. Hills rose on either side, their slopes covered in thick vegetation and scattered rocks. Small streams meandered through the terrain, their waters glinting under the morning sun. The isolation of the road made it clear that few dared to pass through this area, despite its natural beauty. Yet the commando rode confidently, his posture unwavering, his grip firm on the handbars, his eyes alert to every sound and movement. As he rounded a bend in the road, something caught his attention. On the side of the road, partially hidden among the tall grass and small shrubs, sat a small girl. She could not have been more than 9 years old. Her clothes were torn and caked in dirt, and her hair was tangled and messy. She sat hunched over, crying quietly, a look of fear and helplessness in her eyes. Her small hands wiped away tears that refused to stop flowing, her fragile frame trembling in the chilly morning air. The commando slowed his bike and brought it to a stop, pulling off his helmet and taking it safely under his arm. His eyes softened as he approached the girl, his commanding presence tempered by a gentleness reserved for those in need. "Hey there," he said softly, keeping his voice calm and reassuring. "It's okay. You're safe now." The girl looked up, startled, her eyes wide with fear, unsure whether to trust the stranger before her. But something in his voice, his calm demeanor, and the strength he exuded made her pause. Slowly, she nodded, still trembling. The commando knelt beside her, assessing her state. His trained eyes quickly noted the dirt smudges on her clothes, the cuts and scratches on her skin, and the general disarray of her appearance. Carefully, he began to clean her clothes, brushing off the dust and dirt, folding the torn fabric neatly. His hands moved with precision, a mixture of efficiency and care. The girl watched him, fascinated by the patience and attention he showed. For the first time since she had been sitting alone on the roadside, she felt a small flicker of hope. As he helped her stand, brushing off the remaining dirt from her arms and shoulders, the sound of movement in the distance broke the brief moment of calm. From behind a cluster of bushes, a group of men emerged, their intentions clearly hostile. They advanced quickly, eyes fixed on the girl, hands reaching for weapons hidden under their jackets. The commando's instincts kicked in instantly. Without hesitation, he positioned himself between the girl and the attackers, his body tense and ready. "Back off," he commanded, his voice sharp, leaving no room for doubt. The men hesitated for a brief moment, but then lunged forward. What followed was a flurry of action, precise and controlled. The commando moved with the skill of a trained fighter, dodging blows, countering attacks, and using the environment to his advantage. He disarmed one man, then used a combination of strikes and tactical maneuvers to incapacitate the others. Each movement was fluid, a testament to years of rigorous training and experience. The attackers, overwhelmed by his skill and sheer determination, finally fled, leaving the commando and the girl standing alone in the clearing. He took a deep breath, the adrenaline still coursing through his veins, and turned to the girl. She looked at him with wide eyes, her expression a mixture of awe and relief. "Are you okay?" he asked gently, his voice softer now, carrying no trace of earlier intensity. She nodded, her small hands gripping his jacket for reassurance. Yes, I think so, she whispered, her voice shaky. Good, he said, offering a warm smile. Come on. Let's get you somewhere safe. He lifted her carefully onto his bike, making sure she was secure. As he rode through the rugged terrain, the wind whipping past them, the scenery took on a cinematic quality. The hills and streams cast in a blur, the sunlight reflecting off the water, casting golden streaks across the landscape. The girl's eyes widened at the sight, the fear slowly melting into a sense of abandon and safety. Upon reaching a safer area, the commando contacted the local authorities and started the process of locating the girl's parents. Posters were made, announcements were made through police channels, and every available resource was used to ensure the child would be reunited with her family. Hours later, a knock came at the door of the commando's temporary base of operations. The girl's parents stood there, their faces etched with worry that quickly turned to relief and gratitude as they saw their daughter safe and sound. Tears streamed down their faces as they embraced her, unable to contain their joy. The father shook the commando's hand firmly, his eyes filled with unspoken thanks. We cannot thank you enough, he said, his voice choked with emotion. The commando nodded, a humble smile crossing his face. I'm just glad she's safe, he replied. The satisfaction of a mission accomplished, of lives protected, was enough reward for him. As the day drew to a close, the commando returned to the road that had started it all. His bike roared softly beneath him, the sun casting long shadows over the landscape. He paused at a hilltop, looking over the road and the valley below. The mission had been dangerous, the edge fraught with challenges, yet he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. In that quiet moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. The commando's silhouette, framed by the setting sun, symbolized bravery, resilience, and the quiet heroism that often went unnoticed. He had faced danger, protected the innocent, and ensured justice was served, all without seeking recognition or reward. And as the shadows lengthened and the evening light faded into night, when thing was clear, heroes did not always wear capes. Some rode motorcycles through dangerous roads, carried hope in their hearts, and faced danger to make the world a little safer, when life at a time. The little girl, now reunited with her parents, would remember him not just as a commando, but as a guardian, a protector who appeared when she needed help the most. And the commando, riding into the sunset, knew that this was his calling. To stand firm against danger, to fight for the innocent, and to ensure that even in a world that often seemed harsh and unforgiving, hope and courage could still shine through.